Welcome to Tritiyo. I'm Zillur Rahman. Today's episode focuses on a rapidly escalating crisis that threatens the very stability of South Asia. A familiar fault line, India and Pakistan, has once again flared up, this time triggered by a terrorist attack in Kashmir that killed 26 Hindu tourists. What began as angry rhetoric between two nuclear powers has evolved into real time military engagement. With missiles fired, aircraft allegedly downed, and civilian lives lost, the question looms: are we witnessing the dawn of another full scale conflict or something even more catastrophic? Let's dive deep into the narrative, the dangers, and the geopolitical chessboard that is shaping the standoff. The India Pakistan rivalry has never really disappeared. It merely pauses between ceasefires, summits, and sporadic peace talks before re emerging under new flames. But this time, the fire feels hotter. Following the tragic killing of 26 Hindu tourists in Kashmir, the war of words between the two nations has rapidly mutated into something far more tangible. Cross border missile strikes, civilian casualties, and military posturing at the edge of no return. India was quick to pin the blame on Pakistan based terror outfits, though it has not provided concrete evidence. Pakistan, in turn, denied the charges outright and called for an international probe. But India rejected any notion of diplomacy. Prime Minister Narendra Modi declared a fitting response not only to the terrorists but also to their spouses whenever they may be. The Indian media followed in lockstep, echoing the government's tone with even more intensely. Primetime news turned into war rooms. Anchors stood calls for retribution. The word evidence became irrelevant. According to them, the attack needed to further investigation. Pakistan's past was the only proof required, and so the drums of war began beating. This is not the first time a nation has used nationalism to defect from domestic values. This is not the first time a nation has used nationalism to deflect from domestic values, but seeing it unfold in what is just as the world's largest democracy is cheering. What's more concerning is how quickly India's political narrative has shifted from measured diplomacy to fire and fury nationalism, fueled by a right wing ideology that equates dissent and betrayal and minorities with enemies. Pakistan, on its end, is unlikely to take things lying down. In recent days, the two sides have reportedly changed fire across the line of control. India claims to have struck terror launch pads along the border and even one deep inside Pakistan's Punjab province. Pakistan has responded by claiming it shot down multiple Indian aircraft, although no verifiable footage has emerged yet. Civilian deaths have already been reported in Pakistan and property damages in Indian Kashmir. The engagement, while still limited to traditional arms and tactics, raises the question: how long will it remain contained? We have seen this playbook before in 1999 during the Kargil War, in 2001 after the Indian Parliament attack, and again in 2019 following Pulwama. Each time tensions soared, and each time the world braced for a war between two nuclear armed rivals. The difference now is the backdrop. India today is not the India of 1999. Under Modi, its political identity has taken a more muscular, majoritarian turn. Nationalism is no longer a background chorus, it is the main anthem. And for many in the Indian establishment, Pakistan is not just a rival, it is the defining enemy, the other that justifies domestic crackdowns and unites fractured public opinion. On the other hand, Pakistan politics is dominated by its military, which has historically used India as a tool to justify its grip on power. And while Pakistan is in a deep economic and political crisis, its army remains enough firepower and pride to respond with force if provoked. In this context, the recent exchange raised sprawling into something unprecedented. This is not 1965 or 1971. Both India and Pakistan are now nuclear powers. Military superiority matters less when one missile can wipe out millions. The doctrine of mutual destruction is not a Cold War release here, it is an ever present threat. Yet, in both capitals, the rhetoric escalates. International mediation, which once played a key role, is mostly absent, though American President Donald Trump took an initiative and for a while it succeeded. During the 1999 Kargil crisis, US President Bill Clinton personally intervened. Today, the US, preoccupied with China, Ukraine, Gaza, and Iran, Washington views India as a strategic counterbalance to Beijing and is unlikely to pressure it the way it once did. That leaves Pakistan with fewer friends and fewer options. Russia and China have offered generic calls for restraint, but no firm engagement. Turkey and Saudi Arabia have made statements, but they lack the leverage to force any real de escalation. What changed is that the old security architecture of South Asia, fragile as it was, is now fraying under the weight of global realignment. India recently suspended the Indus Waters Treaty, a symbolic and strategic move that has alarmed Islamabad. Pakistan called it tantamount declaration of war and threatened to withdraw from the 1972 Simla Agreement, which formalized the line of control in Kashmir. These developments show that both countries are inching away from even the minimal commitments that have kept their hostilities in check for decades. Meanwhile, even if a ceasefire comes, the battle of narratives will rage on. India insists that the Kashmir attack was orchestrated by Lashkar-e-Taiba, which it claims is effectively a proxy for the Pakistan state. Pakistan seeks to highlight Indian repression in Kashmir and its 2019 move to revoke the region's spatial status. So, who does the world believe? That depends on three things: which country moves faster on the diplomatic front, which controls the global media narrative more effectively, and where the major powers, particularly the US, ultimately stand. In this information age, perception matters almost as much as the battlefield. And right now, both sides are fighting not just with weapons, but with videos, hashtags, press briefings, and strategic leaks. India's new strategy appears to be one of sustained pressure, isolate Pakistan diplomatically, hit surgically when needed, and avoid long words that could drain its economy. But Pakistan has caught on. It's no longer seeking normalization, it's preparing for long term confrontation. The question is, can either side afford it? The economic costs of war, even a limited one, are massive. India is, as a rising economic power, risks drilling its growth. Pakistan, already reliant on IMF bailouts, would suffer even more. The risk of miscalculation is high and, in a nuclear context, catastrophic. As we have explored today, the India Pakistan conflict is border skirmish. It's a high stakes battle of identity, ideology, and regional dominance, wrapped in historical grievances and fueled by modern political opportunism. The war we fear is not just one of missiles and guns, it's a war of narratives, waged across screens, summit halls, and diplomatic corridors. But amid the noise, we must not forget the stakes. There are no winners in a nuclear conflict, only devastation, and the time to pull back from the brink is now. Thank you for listening. Stay informed, stay thoughtful. Until next time, this is Zillur Rahman on Thinkers Studio.